Okay, I've had several people request a tutorial on my ombres. So I have one here. That's already finished. My pet peeve with ombres is when they look like stripes. So I have a couple of little tricks that I use that seems to help me avoid having stripes. Today I'm going to use the 20-ounce Hogg and also the newer 12-ounce Hoggs. Well, they're new to me. I've already base painted both of them white because I'm using kind of an iridescent glitter that doesn't really show up very well on the bare stainless, and I also don't want to base coat the pink and the orange colors just because I don't want to. I'm going to use Leagally Pink from YaYa's, which is one of my favorites. And then I'm also going to use Recollections Neon Orange. The two together look really pretty. So I use regular Mod Podge to apply everything that goes under epoxy because I don't really find it necessary to spend more on the dishwasher safe. I use that for other things. I also use a paintbrush. I've used the Mod Podge brushes before also, and I like them. It looks like this. It's just kind of big for what I'm working on right now. So the first thing I do is just coat everything really well with a coat of Mod Podge. And I kind of slop it on really good at first, and then I go back and take it off to make sure it's all really coated. When you're applying it, you do want to make sure that you don't have any streaks in your Mod Podge, or it will show. The glitter will get clumpy and it's not cute. I do try to work as fast as I can because this Mod Podge does dry pretty quickly. And then where it's embossed, you have to really make sure that you get in all of those crevices. Okay, so I have the whole thing covered. I'm going to make sure that everything is covered but not streaky. I don't want any raised bumps or bare spots. So I want my glitter to be as even as possible, although I usually do 2 coats. Okay, that looks pretty good. Like I said, I want to work pretty quickly because I don't want it to dry on me. So whenever you're working with 2 colors, you want to use the lighter color first. These are pretty similar, but I'm going to say that the orange is the lighter one. And I do want it to be on the bottom. So the way I do mine is I keep it pretty straight, and I do a line all the way around to make sure that that bottom part is fully covered with just one color. And tap it all off. And then the trick here is now to keep it at an angle and still in the same spot where I applied it before. I'm going to apply it again and kind of shake it down to where it fades toward the top of the cup. And I'm still just pouring it on the same line that I made in that first pass. And with mine, I don't care if they are even because I want it to be really blended and kind of have them melt together. So you'll see my ombre kind of goes, or my fade kind of goes up and down, back and forth. Then I do have a paper cup handy, and I take that extra, there's quite a bit, so I'm probably going to use about half of what fell off there since I'm only doing one. Oh, I am doing two, never mind. Put it all in there. And I just save that for now. Then I'm going to take my pink from YaYa's, my Leagally Pink, and I'm going to do the same thing. Oops. Across the top of the cup, just make a line. And then tilt your cup and sprinkle the rest of that down. And that one did come out kind of fast, and I don't want to use that much in my cup. My cup is going to be a mixture of my two colors, and I want them to be about even. And then I'm going to take that, kind of mix it up so it's a blend of the two, and I'm just going to sprinkle it across the middle of my cup. And then anywhere where glitter may have not actually touched, this mixture will fill it in. And that gives me that really pretty ombre that just melts together. So you don't have that definite line. Tap off what you can. Oops. So there's not really a definite line. I do have a couple of spots on the edges where my glue dried before I got to it, like right there. I'm gonna have to fix that. And then I will let that dry, and I will do a second coat. And I'll do the exact same process. So then for the little baby one, it'll be the exact same thing. I do normally tape my cups off, and so I'll do that real quick on this one. I'm not really sure why I skipped that on the bigger cup, but I just use whatever tape is close. Sometimes I use masking tape, sometimes I use electrical tape. If it's a really curvy cup, like a wine glass, I will use the electrical tape because it's a little bit more forgiving and flexible. Just make sure you get a really tight seal around there. And I am going a little bit past my paint because I don't want to see the edge of the paint, so I'm going to actually have a little bit on the stainless, but that kind of covers better in my opinion. Alright, so then the same thing, get my Mod Podge and just cover the baby up. So this will be like a Mommy and Me set. I haven't really decided yet what I'm going to put on it. I just love these colors. And then just make sure that all that excess is off. So there's no streaks. And this cup does have a little ridge really high up, and I didn't want my tape line to go up that high, so I did tape it off in a different spot, so we'll see how that turns out. I might just fill it with glitter. Alright, so that's nice and covered. And then we'll work fast. So we'll use the lighter color first. And I want them to match, so I'm going to do the orange on the bottom. And again, this is the Recollections Neon Orange. So just a stripe along the bottom. Just like that. And then tilt it, and in that same spot, let it just fall naturally wherever it wants to go. And because this is such a short cup, I'm not going to use a lot of glitter because I don't want it to go all the way to the top. And so again, I don't really have a perfect straight line all the way around. It kind of goes up and down, which is what I want. And then I will save this glitter. And then get a clean sheet for the pink. So then the pink came out really fast before, so I'm going to try to be a little bit more careful. Okay, so I've got my stripe of my pink, and now I'm going to fade that down. Put all my glitter back. And then I'm going to take my mix that I made earlier with that last cup and blend it across that seam. So then I have my cute little matching ombre. And I pull my tape right away while it's still wet at an angle. And I also catch all that extra glitter that might fall off of it. I will save all of this mixture for my second coat, and then if there's any left, I have a collection jar that just all of my colors mixed together. When it gets full, I shake it up, and it's usually some sort of grayish purple color. But but I use that in just extra little crafty things. I am going to go back and hit this spot with some Mod Podge lightly because I don't want to move my glitter. That way, when I do that second coat, it'll blend back in. And that's it. That's all I do. So then once those dry, I'll give them an hour or so, and then I come back and repeat the whole process. It's kind of look like sherbet. So that's all I do for my ombres.